All right, so I made a bunch of soap. I'm sending it out. I have a bag full of just soap that I created. I did a few things that are different from the last batches that I've done. I've done 7 batches. This was my 8th batch, and I was going for a type of crop. I don't know if that's how you say it, but it was more like a cream what I was going for. That's why I was using what's called potassium hydroxide. Usually it's used for things that are like conditioners, shampoos, all that stuff. But anyways, I was using potassium hydroxide. I decided to change that and add a little bit of sodium hydroxide, which makes the puck a little harder. In this case, it's a lot harder for a few reasons. Number one, because I added the sodium hydroxide. But number two, because when I did the cook and I finished the saponification process, I let it cook even for longer because I wanted it to remove most of the water that I had added to the batch. It's just like cooking, right? So when you think of it this way, when you're making, I don't want to say a soup, but when you're making a sauce, you Italian guys out there, when you're making a sauce, you add water to your sauce mix, right? And if you take the lid off and you keep cooking it, make sure it doesn't burn. You gotta stir it around. But when you keep cooking it, you know, all that liquid is evaporating. So that's the same premise I was thinking about when doing this soap. So I started with a quantity of water in the soap, and by the end of it, it was a lot less water that was concentrated there. So when I poured it into my little pucks that I bought from Amazon, the soap is a lot harder. And then I had the main ingredients that I've been playing around with. Number one, that Wagyu tallow. The fatty acid profile on Wagyu is a lot closer to bear fat than it is to like regular beef tallow, because it has a higher oleic content, which I like, because there's soaps like Arefa soaps that I really enjoy because the post-shave feel is really nice, and that's because it has a nice oleic content. A few different things that I added now is I have that bear tallow, and then I added 4 butters. Before, I think I was playing with 2 butters. I would have to check my notes, but I have now shea butter, cocoa butter, or cocoa butter. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Kokum butter, and I'm also using mango butter. So I'm using 4 different butters in the soap now. That was something that I wanted because I like having that variety in there. I'm using lanolin, right? I'm also using a different fat now as well that I added. I'm using rice oil. Obviously stearic acid, you know, my thoughts on that. I think there's a reason why everybody's using stearic acid. If you mix it correctly with everything else, you know, it's not a bad thing in my opinion. The Wagyu tallow, Tusa silk, I added that to the lye mixture, which is potassium hydroxide and sodium hydroxide. Obviously I have glycerin there. I have a little bit of coconut oil. I don't really enjoy coconut oil that much in my soaps. You know, coconut oil, this is my experience, or so far what I've noticed is coconut oil is great, right? Especially for bar soaps, because coconut oil, the fatty acid profile that it has, it's really high on laurylic and myrrhellistic, and that's great for getting your skin clean. It cleans like a boss, and that's why usually when people make the bar soaps, what they do is they have a higher super fat content when they use coconut oil, because if you use too much coconut oil without putting that super fat high and being careful, what you're gonna have is a really cleansing soap, but it's also going to irritate you and leave your skin dry. That's why usually the soaps that have a lot of coconut oil near the top of the ingredient lists, they always mess my skin up. For the longest time, I thought it was the fragrance oils, but no. And coconut oil is a cheap ingredient. I guess that's why they use it. You know, it's cheap, so it brings their cost down of production. I don't like it. I use it, but it's at the very bottom of the ingredient list, or in my formula that I am sending out to the boys. Castor oil, that helps with rinsoleic acid, and it helps with the lather boosting. It's better than so coconut oil will build up your lather, but it's going to be like an airy lather. And castor oil also helps with the loading of the brush and the loading of the soap, but it doesn't add as much bubbles as the coconut oil. So castor oil, coconut oil, and I added some other stuff. Castor oil adds a bunch of rinsoleic acid, which basically you could think of it like the Glide. It's the Glide mostly, or the slickness is mostly coming from the glycerin. That's your number one boss on how slick a soap is. I kept that at the same range, because if you add too much glycerin, it's going to kill your lather. So you have to play around with it. I did a batch where I pushed it to the max. I said, okay, the lather, I saw that it died down, you know, it killed it. It did not get that dense, creamy lather that I liked. So I pushed it to the max, and now I dialed it back, and I'm at a place where I really like it. The rinsoleic is mostly like when you wash off the face, that the residual slickness. The main slickness comes from glycerin, at least from what I've seen. So yeah, that's why I have castor oil in there. Making my way to the post office right now. I'm gonna send out a few batches to my friends. I need to buy like smaller containers and send out to everybody in the community. But I'm doing this in like batches because, you know, I'm paying for the shipping, and I have a lot of friends in the community that want to try it, see my journey into making soap. It's fun as fuck. I would definitely recommend, if you're thinking about it, look into it, because although it's like the barrier to entry, you have to learn a lot. It's kind of like straight razor shaving and honing, you know. There's a barrier to entry that you're going to have to study, but it's going to blow your mind into all the small little details that go into it. I added kaolin clay to the soap as well. Kaolin clay is also like a Glide booster, but it's, if there's a way to explain it, it's almost like a dry lather booster, or yeah, it's not like a wet Glide, it's like a dry Glide, if that makes any sense. So I added kaolin clay, I added goat milk to the soap, so this one's with goat milk, and there I added something else for the Glide as well, because usually people just use glycerin for Glide, but I wanted to add the castor, the glycerin, the kaolin clay, because all these little things, if they can help in Glide at anything, then I'm going to add it, right? And I added something else. This one has like a scientific name, so I guess it sounds scary. It really isn't. It's hydrocellulose, hydropropyl cellulose. You guys can look it up. There's nothing bad in there. I was just watching a video from Devin Jackson, and he was asking about, you know, how these companies like, not Cella, this other company that people love, Parasso has like a very unique Glide to it, and he said it's almost like a synthetic Glide. And then Joe from Subtle Art Soap Company left a comment. He was like, well, we don't use it in our soap, but most of these companies that, you know, this is this ingredient, that it could be that. And I looked at the ingredient list from Parasso, and, you know, these bigger companies, and I added just a little bit of that, just a little bit, because at its heart, I just love the pure ingredients of, you know, having good tallow, having good fats, the 4 fats that I added, goat milk, you know, stuff like that. So that's why I just added just a little bit, just because if it can help, why not, right? I'm getting close here to the post office. What else did I add? I added so much new stuff. I said the Tusa silk. We'll see. Honestly, I see a lot of Tusa silk in a lot of soaps. I'm not sure if it really adds that silkiness that people like. Even without it, the soap is already silky. I guess if you use a bunch of stearic acid, your soap is not going to be silky. But if you use like good fats, oh, this guy almost, oh, what a menace. Oh, it's a woman over here at the post office, just getting ready to get inside and send out like 6 different shipments. I also want to do some little honing right now when I get back home. Today's my day off. There's a lady selling donuts. She says they're delicious donuts. So I want to get back home and do some honing, maybe some shaving, because I have here 4 days of growth and it's starting to itch a little bit. But more importantly, my friend Joshua Pascal, the cutthroat goat, you guys should check him out. He bought me a green Vermont slate from Griffith, and he sent it to me, and I've been playing around with it, and I've never played around with the green shadow before, right? It's almost similar the way it looks. I've never played with the green shadow. I played with the black shadow, and the black shadow, the best way I could describe it is, if you had a good edge, it didn't take you backwards, it just didn't do anything. It didn't take me forward, it didn't take me backwards. If I put an 8K edge on it and I honed on the black shadow, you know, the edge stayed the same, in my experience. That's also like, Keith Johnson made a great video about the black shadow, but I'm not sure about the green shadow. The green shadow might be better, but it didn't feel like there was any abrasive in there. It's almost, for me, that my experience with the black shadow, and this could just be my experience, because the quality control with this particular company that makes the black shadow is not the best. I mean, there's guys that say that, you know, the guy that sells it has been banned from a lot of groups. I don't know, it's rumors or just people shit talking, but, you know, they say, you know, he goes to the bin of another company and sees what he can find. I'm not sure if that's true or not. It's just what people say. My experience with the black shadow was it just didn't do anything. Like, I could take some glass and probably get the same edge. You know, it's not gonna take me backwards or forwards. But anyways, the green Vermont, I've been playing around with it, and it does actually have like some abrasive in it, almost like the Escher that I have, because I've only, with slates, I've only used the Escher. I should get a unmarked Thuringian just to see how it compares to the Escher, and the Escher was a great, like, beautiful experience to hone on. The green shadow now is also very enjoyable. The black shadow was just you know. And the other slate that I've used, or slate type, is the Olympus stone. But the Olympus, honestly, it's like its own different thing, man. Because yeah, it's just like its own different thing. I don't know what else to say about the Olympus. For those guys that have it, you know, they know how it feels, how it's so different to hone on, and the feel that it gives. To me, you know, the edge that the Olympus was giving me was closer to a surgical black, or like a Dan's arc. So that's why I haven't gotten myself an Olympus, because I have the Dan's arc. Although the Olympus does have like a lot more range, because I even did like a 1K bevel set and then went to the Olympus. Mind you, it did take me some time. I was there for a while and I refreshed the surface a couple times, but I did go like from 1K to a finished edge on the Olympus, and it gave me, out of all the edges that I did, and I did a few, that was the one that was my favorite. I did the Mikawa Nagura progression on the Olympus. I did synthetic to Olympus. I did conical to Olympus on oil. I did Olympus on not glycerin, the blue juice, O&R, Optimum No Rinse, and that one also gave me a really nice edge. But you gotta be careful, because at least the smoothest edge that I got pushing it was with the oil. The glycerin also pushed it, but it wasn't as smooth as the oil. Anyways, what was I saying? Hey, I gotta play with the green Vermont, man, because Josh sent that to me, and I've just been enjoying it, man. And if you go back to my channel like 2 years ago when I had the Black Shadow, like I said, I didn't feel like there was much abrasive on it. And so what I would do is I would take the conical slurry, and since it's not taking me backwards, and I think Greg has talked about this, how Greg or JPO, John has definitely talked about it, because he took a piece of glass and he put some slurry on it and he honed on it and got a great edge off his microscope. Beautiful work. I love those type of videos. But Greg Gallant actually made a video, I think it was Greg Gallant, where he says, like, with these level 5 JNATs, most of the abrasion that's happening is from the slurry, not from the base stone itself. And it's true, because it's a very dense. Okay, so the video cut off because, like Robert Pascal, I haven't been deleting my videos that I have already posted. But anyways, I think what I was saying was the Black Shadow didn't really have much abrasive on it. And so what I used to do like 2 years ago was I take the conical little Nagura stone or slurry stone, and I would make a slurry just like a conical. And the reason I did that was I didn't really have big conicals back then, and so I took that stone, the Black Shadow, which to me, like, the hardness felt like a level 4.5 JNAT in terms of density. And that's great because it has like this little bedding effect for the slurry, and I would slurry it up, and the results on the microscope for me, it would give me this beautiful conical, beautiful ugly, that doesn't make sense, but for me, the ugly scratch pattern of a conical is beautiful, so that's how I explain it. It would give me the same scratch pattern, and the shade was actually very similar. The reason why I say that is you could do the same with a Koma Nagura or a Mikawa Nagura, and do it that way. And I've been playing around that with the green shadow. I've been doing it instead of conical. I've been doing it with Nagura, Mikawa Nagura, and I have been getting great results with the green shadow. And the reason why I do that is because when I have a natural stone, I like to spend like a good amount of time on that stone honing. So I don't want to go synthetic to the green shadow and just finish there, when I can have one side of the green shadow for my progression and then flip it over to the other side, maybe add some oil. In my case, I like 3-in-1. I need to check out Eric's magic smelling honing oil. Maybe that will improve my edges a little bit. But because everybody knows that the smell is that matters, right? The better the oil smells, the better the edge. So if you haven't checked it out, go to his Etsy at the Cajun store. It's in the description below. If you're getting average edges, this scented oil will be the key to unlocking your hidden potential. Available at etsy.com/shop the Cajun Blade Store, or check in the description below. Anyways, yeah, I just want to play with the green shadow. I've been getting great edges and on the microscope. Try that trick out. If you look at my videos like 2 years ago when I was starting in the hobby and playing around, I used to do that a lot with the Black Shadow and the conical slurry. There are some guys that have done it in the past with the surgical black or a hard arc. The problem with a hard arc, in my opinion, and the reason why I think these slates are better for doing this, is because they are very dense. And if you know anything about grinding, especially like if you have a grinding wheel, if the abrasive that you're using is too fine, you know, it heats up, or it sticks, because everything is just densely packed, and so the blade sticks more to the stone. The coarser the stone, the less tension there is. Right here I said tension, but what I really meant was friction. So the more densely packed, the more friction there is, and the coarser the stone, the less friction there's going to be. And when I talked about the stone heating up, I actually meant that when you use a grinding wheel and you use too fine of an abrasive, it actually heats up because there's so much friction, and then you can mess with the tempering of the blade. So I hope that explains it better. And so these slates, in my opinion, are better for that because they're not as glassy, and so the razor won't stick as much. You won't get that suction effect as much. In fact, I don't get it at all. The way I get it is the more I go closer to water, the more it behaves like a cuticle, where it wants to stick when it's under running water. And then you stop. And then you go on oil, because you're not going to stop there. You're not going to be a loser, right? You're not just going to stop when the razor sticks. You're going to do what the razor actually needs, and actually keep going and use oil and get a smoother, keener edge. So anyways, that's just a little bit. I've taken enough of your time. This is just like a little catch-up video. You went on from my house to here. Don't dox me. I don't think you guys will. I'm gonna send those packages out. I will be interested to see what you guys think. I think I'm missing some ingredients that I added. Aloe vera, that's something else I added. What else? I'm still missing stuff because I added a bunch of like what I call additives, right? I had my main base, the main ingredients that do 90% of the bulk of the heavy lifting, like the Wagyu, the 4 butters that take a significant chunk of the percentage of the base, as well as the Wagyu. Like the Wagyu and the 4 butters, that's like more than like 75% of the ingredients in the percentage wise. So anyways, I'll leave it at that. I will be interested to see what the guys think about the soap and how it smells. There was a lady here in Puerto Rico that actually does sell. I bought ingredients for her to make the soap, and she helped me out with the smell of the soap, the fragrance oils. And I also bumped it up because my good friend Leon talked about how when he buys a soap, he likes it to smell a lot. And I was like, yeah, he's probably right. And I don't think the fragrance oil was the thing messing my skin up with irritation. I think it's just the soaps that have a bunch of coconut oil because they just do. Anyways, see you guys in the next one. I hope you guys enjoyed this different video. It's always nice to talk with you guys. It really does feel like you guys are here. All right, I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.